Hey everyone, it's Carrie. Welcome to my brand new channel, Carrie's Thrifty Farmhouse. If you like decorating on a budget, you're in the right place. For today's video, I'm creating 7 different farmhouse style ornaments using Dollar Tree items and other budget-friendly supplies. If you like this video, I would love for you to comment, like, and hopefully subscribe so I can grow my channel. So with all the formalities out of the way, let's get started. For this first project, you will need a pack of the mini tumbling blocks, wood glue, white, black, and red paints, ribbon of choice, some of the mini pine cones, and a floral pick. Start out by gluing the blocks together in groups of 3 with wood glue. Each grouping is like one layer of the Jenga tower. You'll need a total of 10 groups of 3 to form our block presents. Once you've finished the groups of 3, divide them into 2 groups of 5 and glue them into stacks that each form a cube. One thing to keep in mind is that instead of switching directions like you do in the Jenga game, make sure that each stack is glued in the same direction. Now it's time to paint the bottom layer. I painted one of the cubes with black acrylic craft paint and the other with a red chalk paint. This is just what I had on hand, and it really doesn't matter if you use regular or chalk paint in this step, but I'll provide a list of all my materials in the description box below. Next, I'm painting over the red and black with white acrylic craft paint. These steps might seem a little strange at first, but just wait until our last step and you'll see why we're layering the colors. Now I'm tying the packages up with ribbon. I liked this red and white gingham that I got from the Dollar Tree for the cube with the red layer of paint underneath. Speaking of which, it's a good idea to keep track of which one was the red one and which was the black if you're choosing to do 2 different colors like I did here. I just glued 2 strips of ribbon around the package, one in each direction. Then, instead of tying an actual bow, I glued 1 long strip over the top and looped each side around and glued it to look like a bow. Next, I'm just adding some embellishments. Here I used a mini pine cone and a small cut of evergreen from a floral pick, but you can use whatever you like or what you have on hand. Next, I'm repeating the steps with the present that has the black paint underneath. I've definitely seen black and white gingham ribbon at Dollar Tree before, but this time I didn't see any, so I am using a version from Amazon here. I also forgot to mention that I added a loop of jute twine so that each ornament had a hanger. I did this under the ribbon I used to form the bow. Now it's time for the fun step, distressing. Here I used a medium grit sandpaper, but scouring sponges available at Dollar Tree can work for this step as well. Just rub along the edges and sides of the block, skimming off some of the white layer and revealing the other painted layer beneath. You can do as much or as little distressing as you like to achieve your desired look. I think this is worth the extra steps in painting as it adds the perfect weathered farmhouse look to our ornaments. And here's the finished product. Don't they just look so cute hanging on the tree? I was able to make both ornaments with only 1 package of tumbling blocks, so I have 2 beautiful ornaments for just $1 plus embellishments. For this next project, you will need a small twig, white or off-white yarn, jute twine, and lace ribbon. I started out by wrapping the twig with the jute twine. I used the glue gun every so often to ensure that the twine stuck in place. When I got to the top, I glued a loop of twine and covered it with the wrap in order to give it a more finished look. Next, I'm creating yarn strips, but instead of cutting each one separately, I wrapped a board approximately 5 inches wide with the yarn. Then I cut the loops at each end. This saved me a bunch of time, and all the strips are approximately the same length. Now it's time to form the branches. You'll need 2 yarn strips for each layer. Start out by forming a U out of each piece of yarn, one with the open side facing the left and one facing the right. One will go under the trunk of the tree and the other over. Now thread the open ends of the yarn through the loops of the other pieces and pull tight. You got all that? Just kidding, just kidding. Here's a closer look at the technique. One loop is underneath with the open end to the right. Then you place the other loop on the top with the opening to the left. Pull the two ends of the bottom piece through the loop of the top piece. Then feed the ends of the top piece through the other loop and pull it tight. It takes a few times to get the hang of it, but you'll find your rhythm. Continue this down the stem, switching off which way the loop faces that is on the bottom. You don't have to do this, but the knot looks slightly different depending on which way the bottom loop faces, so I think it looks a little nicer to switch off. Now it's time to straighten the pieces. I usually use a comb. Some fuzz may come off, and that's okay. Just don't press too hard, as that might make the yarn start to unravel a little bit. Now cut each side diagonally with the shorter ends at the top to make it look more like a Christmas tree. Next, I'm using Stronghold hairspray to stiffen the yarn so that it holds its shape. I'm spraying both the front and the back. Finally, I'm adding a small lace bow at the top. I make a simple bow by cutting a piece of ribbon and folding the two sides in to make two loops. Then I tie a shorter piece of ribbon around the middle with the knot in the back. Trim all four ends where you like so that they hang down slightly. And here she is on the Christmas tree. I love the contrast of the white against the green needles. And this came together for literally pennies. You can't beat that. For this project, you will need a buffalo plaid dish drying mat, jute twine, and nautical rope. So we'll start out by cutting a Christmas tree shape. I'm terrible at freehanding things, so I found one I liked on my son's school iPad, put blank paper right on top of the iPad and traced. You'll see later that I end up having to cut it into a triangle instead, so you can save yourself the time of finding a fancy tree if you like. Now I'm wrapping the trunk with jute twine. I used glue every so often to ensure that the twine didn't unravel. Okay, so here's where I was on the fence about showing the whole process for this one because I had to change the plan a few times. I was disappointed with how the foam was white in the middle and showed at the edges. I had also planned to do a blanket stitch around the edge, but the mat was too thick for the twine. But just like in life, sometimes you have to switch directions in a project, and that's okay. So I'm just gluing nautical rope to cover the edges and then doing another line around on either side. So here he is. Not exactly what I planned, but in the end I really like him. He's a good rustic counterpart to the boho tree we did earlier. For this next project, you'll need styrofoam balls, which come in packs of 2 at Dollar Tree, one of the white car towels, which I found in the hardware/automotive section, ribbon, mini pine cones, and floral picks of your choosing. So I have always wondered how fabric-covered ornaments are so perfect with no extra fabric folded over or big seams. Well, I'm going to share a little secret I discovered only by taking apart a store-bought ornament. The secret is cutting little troughs in the ball. So using your scissors, cut a line that's about 1 centimeter deep all the way around the ball. Then make another line around the ball in the perpendicular direction. This will create 4 equal segments. I made a quick template out of poster board, but you can definitely eyeball it. Just make sure that each piece of fabric is slightly larger than the section of the ball that you're going to be covering. You will be tucking the excess fabric down into the troughs you just cut. Now I'm using the end of a small paintbrush to poke the fabric into the trough. I'm just working around each section, pulling the fabric taut as I go and cutting off any excess fabric. I do this for each of the 4 sections. The options are really endless here. I wanted to use Dollar Tree fabric today, but you could get any fabric from the thrift store that matches your decor. I also made one with an old flannel shirt, which I'll show here at the end today. Next, I'm covering the lines with ribbon. I love this red gingham fabric. It's a really nice contrast to the white. Then I'm adding a hanging loop from the same ribbon and some embellishments with mini pine cones, leaves, and berries from a floral pick. Then I made an extra fancy version with this beautiful snowflake ribbon I snagged on major sale from Joann Fabrics. It was originally $9.99, but last week they had a sale, buy one, get two free, so I got it for a great price. The lamb's ear is from a 97-cent pick from Walmart, and the white berries are from a floral pick from Joann's that was also buy one, get two free. I just love the versatility to this. And here they are on the tree. I love how a few changes can take them from traditional to glam to a more rustic version, like with the flannel. In this next project, I'm using the clear plastic DIY ornaments from Dollar Tree, one that's the largest size and one that's the medium size and comes in a pack of 2. I'm also using white and black paint, a small sink strainer, mini pine cones, a floral pick, and some embellishments to make a face for our snowman, as well as ribbon and black sticker lettering. We'll start out by pouring a generous amount of white paint into the ornament. Swirl it around and around, coating the entire inside, and then set it upside down in a cup so that the paint drains out. Don't worry about wasting paint because you can pour any extra back into the container and use it for the other ornament. Next, I'm painting a sink strainer black to look like a hat. The strainers come in a pack of 2, and this is the smaller size. There's not much to this part, but I will say that the paint got a little splotchy in parts where the metal was woven differently. I was okay with this since I felt like it gave it a weathered look. Now I'm gluing the hat to the ornament and creating a face for the snowman. I used pearl stickers I had painted black with a Sharpie, but I think buttons or sequins could work too. The carrot nose is orange jute twine I had tied in a few knots, and the mouth is just twine. Then I'm adding a few embellishments to his hat, an evergreen sprig, berries, and a mini pine cone. I just love those mini pine cones. For the larger ornament, I'm just adding plain black stickers spelling the word joy and finishing it off with more of the black gingham ribbon. I think you're probably noticing by now that I love a good gingham check. And here's the little snowman on the tree. I just love his sink strainer hat, and because the paint is on the inside of the ball still reflects the light. And the options are endless for the sticker words on the larger ornament. I think I might even make some as gifts with people's last names on them. For this next project, you'll need some more of the tumbling blocks, white and black paint, wood beads, and ribbon. Start out by gluing 5 of the wooden blocks together with wood glue. You could always add more if you plan to write a bigger word or saying, but today I'm keeping it short. Then just paint the signs with white paint. I wanted the words to be in array done style lettering, but I didn't trust myself to print directly onto the sign. So I wrote it out on paper first and then used carbon paper to transfer it to the sign. This worked well, but then I had a little bit of trouble with my Sharpie, so I had to thicken the letters of the Noel sign. No worries, these are just for our personal tree. Next, I'm painting some of the wooden beads black and white. A little trick I found was to string them on a skewer because they fit snugly around the skewer so they don't move much as you paint them. I didn't catch this on camera, but I strung them onto jute twine, alternating black and white beads. For this size sign, I used 5 black beads and 4 white ones. This was so I started and ended with the black color next to the white sign. I knotted the twine several times to keep the beads in place and glued the knots to the top edge of the sign. And here they are on the tree. You may notice I added my favorite black and white gingham ribbon to the top. This goes nicely with the black and white wooden beads. And if I had one do-over though, I would probably lower the lettering a little so that it is centered in the white space after the ribbon is added. But that's just the perfectionist in me coming out. I just love how these look and they fit nicely with the other ornaments. Alright, we made it to the last DIY today. For this hoop ornament, you will need shower curtain rings, white paint, ribbon, mini pine cones, and floral picks of your choosing. I'm starting out by cutting one of the shower curtain rings in half. I used my hot knife / wood burning tool, but you can create your own hot knife by holding a snap blade under a flame for a few seconds. It melts through the plastic very easily. Then I'm gluing the pieces together perpendicular to another curtain ring and painting the hoop white. Next, I'm wrapping both the top and bottom in, you guessed it, black and white gingham ribbon. Then I'm gluing a pine cone in the center. I lost some of my footage here, but I just glued some greenery around the pine cone. Finally, I added a bow to the top of the ornament. And here it is on the tree. It reminds me of a Cinderella pumpkin carriage. I don't think this looks like shower curtain rings at all, and the mini pine cone looks so sweet sitting inside. So there you have it, 7 beautiful ornaments with some additional variations, all made with Dollar Tree products. I just love how these look, and they all look great together as well. Whether you're creating for yourself or crafting for gifts, it's easy to get a high-end look on a budget when you think outside the box a little, so I hope this inspired you to get crafty this holiday season. If you liked this video, please consider subscribing and hitting the notification button so you will be notified when I upload future videos. I have lots of additional holiday projects in the works that I know you will love, so keep your eye out for those. See you next time. Bye!